to be transparent, I'm going to share with you the worst of what happened after a massive storm here in the Martinsville, Henry County area after the terrace installation. I'm going to start with this driveway right here, which has some minor erosion. And you can see the patterns. Remember, we talk about the water patterns, and it ran off to this edge. By the way, I'm Justin Hitt from Prosperity Homestead, and this project is going to be a container barn that's going in place on that gravel pad out there. And we did an earthworks excavation. And in that presentation, I claimed that we could teach you how to do earthworks for your farm, whether you're building a barn, whether you're building a parking pad, whether you're building earthworks for your garden areas. And so the claim is always tested by Mother Nature, by the weather and the pressure of the weather. So we had about 3 inches of rain come down, thunderstorms. It's July right now. A lot of rain pressure, and I had fortunately got the seed in and some straw, and now I'm going to go through the worst of what happened and then share with you some best practices you can use to set up your own property. So first off, we had some running water off of here, and you can still see though that there is some grass coming up. And this is an area where water has come off, except here's the best practice. The water has pooled in these low areas. So if you imagine water coming in from the hill here and from the woodland area, it did cut across the road here, which is perfectly fine. And then it channeled down here into what's called sumps. Now these sumps aren't fancy because we're driving in and out of here, but they're far enough outside of the path of where a vehicle will come so that the water can sump off in this low area right here next to this brush dam, or where a lot of topsoil was put, and it soaks into the ground. And how do we know it's soaked into the ground? Because we can see that silt on the top there. Now we move further. I'm going to show you the silt a little bit closer. You can still see there's some moisture. Now again, this was a massive storm. You can see deer prints in here. And the storm put about 2 inches of rain down, 3 inches of rain down in about an hour period. Had heavy winds, thunderstorm. And you can see how the rain beat the rocks and washed all of the dirt off the rock. And that's what we meant in a previous video by the rock is resistant to water, and the water will find its way around the rock itself. However, all the little nooks and crannies still have a bit of grass in them. And then we see both deer prints and large dog paw prints, which are likely coyote. So this is the worst. This is the worst. But it's designed this way. It's designed to slow and spread and sump the water. Now it does show me that there was quite a bit of water, because you can see the areas that filled up actually washed over the rock here, washed down here, and there's a little bit of erosion right there into this area. We're going to take a look at that later. Another factor that we see, and again, I'm giving you the worst of first, is how the hill slumped. And that's expected. That hill slumped. Now, when it slumps, we're going to grass it. I'm going to get seed on it and get it under control, because earthworks like this is actually a cut. So we were cutting material out of here. We want it to slump so that we can get vegetation on it and hold it in place. And so we have a number of slumps across here. And a slump is where the top material has fallen down and kind of built that little diagonal there. That's perfectly fine. How do I handle this? Well, I actually go through and just get it seeded with grass, some kind of cover crop, and get some straw on it, okay? Speaking of straw, you can see that we have grass on those edges. That green tent tells me grass is coming along. Grass is coming along here, but I didn't have enough grass to do this road, so we don't have any grass growing on the road, and we do have some runs. So not runs as in not have to go to the bathroom, but you can see where the water has come down and channeled just a little bit, and how it has exposed some rocks and again washed the soil off the top of the rocks. And then you can see a little channeling down here. Again though, it comes into this area where the grass is, and we have no problem. Now this grass is too thick, okay, so that's a mistake. Don't make that mistake. Remember, I busted out my tail light, so I was a little pissed off. Again though, we have another sump area. This is a low area to catch the water away from the gravel pad and then to ultimately slow and spread the water. You can see the patterns here. So the water had come down here and it had moved some of the straw, but as the grass comes up, it's going to be even better. And then right here is a channel. Let's talk about some successes. Right past this gravel channel is grass start. Now you can see some of the rocks are exposed. I'm going to go through and pull those rocks out, set them aside. If the rock is the same size as the rock over here, I'll throw it in the gravel area. But we don't have a lot of silt or a lot of runoff. And I'm going to walk on the rocks because we got all that baby grass. I do need to spread out some of those clumps of grass because, again, remember we talked about when we put the grass down, we want all of the grass, all the straw, all the hay on as much surface area as possible, because all we're doing is maintaining moisture on the surface so that our grass can germinate. I will overseed all of this. So when you're doing a project like this, you don't have to have all your grass seed right away. You can overseed, which means to come back and lightly seed again. And while I'm doing that, I'll spread out some of the straw. Now, I just walked down onto the ground here. The ground here is a little soft. It's not soft like I'm leaving a footprint, but it's soft as in still holding a lot of water. That last rain was yesterday, dropped quite a bit of water. So what would we expect if this was done wrong? Okay. If this was done wrong, we would expect channeling over the edge here, and we have none of that. Now we even have, see where the moisture is held up there? We even have a moist spot that's still there, and in that spot we have some grass coming along. Now, in a previous video today, I talked about on the earthworks, when we're cleaning up those earthwork walls, because see, right now there's a lot of rock in here, and it's okay. We want the seed to fall in between the rocks. Well, when we're cleaning up these walls, we're going to take away the rocks. We're going to smash the clay, and then when it's wet, we'll take some of this clay here and we'll throw it uphill to build the bund. Because remember, all those rocks are all over the place and they're hard to find. So as the grass is growing, we're taking the rocks out because we don't want a scythe or a mower blade or something to hit the rocks. So we're going to remove the rocks. We're going to move some soil upslope, and then we're going to smash up some of those clay messes. So we do have a little bit of moisture down on the bottom, and you can see that corner has a little bit of moisture. But again, what a beautiful job to have such a rain event and nothing happened. Now I do see deer footprints. I do see some areas that can be tuned up a little bit. But again, you want to get your initial, like this straw is too thick. This straw, you don't have any fuzzy grass coming up because the straw is mulching the grass. So I would take this and I would take some of this out. See how thick that is? And I'd sprinkle it over here. Okay, so this is the fine tuning that you can do. And I'm gonna walk back out on these rocks again. And you can see where deer have come through. But ultimately, folks, look at this. Isn't that amazing? This is what it looks like when it's done the right way. Massive rain event. This is the second rain event. I was a little scared about this second rain event. I would have still showed you what was going on. But I was a little scared of the second rain event because we had thunder and lightning and stuff like that. So let me walk out to this corner and just give you a little look about. Again, it's not all nice and neat because the equipment we had couldn't really track all this in. We didn't have big equipment. We had like regular farm scale equipment. Now I see down in here a little bit of wet spot. We're going to walk down that way and check it out. But check across this edge. So when all these clay balls fall down to the bottom, down here in the bottom, those are going to get busted up and thrown up the hill. Okay, so as we're maintaining, we're going to bust them up, throw them up the hill, and then keep seeding with cover and everything like that. And then we're trying to build out a bund. So there is a corner right here that has a potential. I don't see channeling here, but this little section here has the potential to be a low spot. So we rake out this and get the bund ready. We're going to be disturbing it. You can see these rocks are exposed. And those again come out, and then we build this area up with some soil. Where would that soil come from? It would come from those big chunks down near the bottom. Okay, so those big chunks down near the bottom, we'll manually throw them up the hill. You'll get strong doing this to make sure that we don't have an overflow in this section. But all said and done, I'm super excited because everything held into place. Let's look at the channeling of the water, because some of you guys might not believe that there was a massive rain event here because you don't yet understand the patterns And you might think, well, I'm trying to save face. Well, again, you can see the slumping of the hill. That particular log was up the hill before it. It's fallen down the hill. So there's slumping on the hill. And then you can also see how there is silt, this fine soil, over top of grass. So that has actually run down and gone over the grass. Now we have a slope here. So we will have a little bit of running, but it's pretty level, so we don't have much channeling. We do have some channeling, and I just felt some raindrops here. A little bit of channeling here. You can see the rock. And then, of course, there's some channeling around this log. But again, nothing major, because out here, he dragged it, spread it out. And so if there is a couple little spots, it was likely where there were stumps before. Because see, that's a little wet spot there. And then, of course, instead of cutting all the way down, you can see how this kind of has a plateau. Because we want to, again, slow and spread the water out. And then around back, we'll look real close, because what we're looking for around back is saturation and watering come out due to saturation. Okay, look, you can see here, there's a little shearing. Okay, so the water came down the hill. Again, massive rain event. If this is the worst we have, that's easy to fix. Okay, so we can fix that with getting straw down, getting seed down, and getting some kind of vegetation growing. Now this seed's only been down for like a week. Okay, so now here's the hill on the back here. Take a look at that. I am so happy with that. Now there is some soil that we can dig up and sling it up on the hill, which will fill in the cracks. And then if we put down seed after we do that, I'm giving you everything you need right now. I want to make sure you know how to do this, because this is a powerful skill. And if you attend a course, you'll learn the details, you'll get practice. But all these clumps of dirt go up to the top again, like that. And then we use those clumps, not rocks, but we use the clumps of dirt to start building out that bund. That bund is more important than anything, because if water channels from the top surface there over the side, it will cause a mess. But look at that. That's so beautiful. I can spread this straw a little bit thinner using a stick. But look at that. The grass has fallen down in the cracks, and it's already started. Now I can add cover crop seeds. I can add different types of seeds depending on what the season is. And also I can spread the straw around a little bit, because the thinner straw is going to give us better grass coverage. Once that grass grows, the roots of the grass are going to dig down into the side of the hill. The biomass of the grass will slow down the rain, and altogether it is going to be beautiful. So I don't see any water saturation on the bottom of here. It tells me that this is compacted very well. I do see some moisture in this corner, which gets a lot more shade, but I also see some surplus soil that I can pick up in here with a shovel and throw up on this hill. Folks, this is how the work is done. If you're interested in learning how to do agricultural earthworks, whether it's expanding your growing space, or it's setting up platforms for such in this case as a barn, or it could be earthworks that have to do with swales, water management. It could be earthworks that have to do with paddock systems. Maybe you're going to do a fish, duck, rice system. Go to www.prosperityhomestead.org. Contact us, and we'll get you started with course materials and hands-on opportunities. Now again, we don't build these every week because it's not necessary. You build them once, and 70, 80 years later, it's still there. And I know some professional contractors and stuff might look at this and say, hey, it's not perfect. Again, we were doing it with less than optimal equipment because we wanted to show you that you can do this with the equipment you have, rather than having to buy out a lot of expensive equipment or rent expensive equipment. There's always fine-tuning things that can be done. Like, for example, what I'm standing on could be made into a new terrace, and it could be, this edge could be cleaned up. But again, we want to show you the practical application of these technologies and these methodologies so that you can start doing them right now. We really want to take away the excuses. And one of the big excuses people have is they don't know how to do earthworks, and they don't know if earthworks will benefit them. And we can often look at a satellite map and help you determine if earthworks will work. But if you want more space, if you want more character to your land, If you want erosion management, if you want better access to your property, including farm roads, similar concepts for farm roads, then visit www.prosperityhomestead.org, and at a minimum, ask your questions at the contact page. If you're interested in an earthworks program, we have a network of people who can teach earthworks, and our program is specific to agricultural earthworks, which includes swales for water management, growing systems, plateaus for terrace farming, road access. We got a couple of fences going up, and we need to terrace in where the fences are going to go. Anyway, it is starting to drizzle here again. We're kind of in a summer rainy season. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your questions. And I was teasing you up front. There's nothing major wrong with what's going on here. This thing, like a champion, handled a major storm event, the second major storm event, and I'm just gonna get it better. I'm gonna get more straw out here, more seed out here. I'm gonna get this thing growing strong. The containers are gonna be here in 2 or 3 weeks, and hopefully power is gonna be here Monday, or at least I have a commitment on the power. Stay tuned. We're gonna make this thing happen, and you're gonna learn how to get more from your land. I'm Justin Hitt with Prosperity Homestead. I can be reached at www.prosperityhomestead.org. And let's just get growing on. Thanks for watching.